3 study of olaparib maintenance in the germline BRCA mutated metastatic pancreatic cancer patients. Pancreatic cancer patients were being given 16 weeks line BRCA mutated. They were metastatic pancreatic patients treated on first line treatment. And after completion of the 16 weeks of platinum based treatment, if they were non progressive, of olaparib maintenance versus a placebo. Now, the most important thing to note is that all these patients, the maximum of them, that is 129 patients of these 154, received first line modified FOLFIRINOX like chemotherapy. So when you look at the survival outcomes of this study, so the progression-free survival as well as the overall survival. So what we can see is that when you look at the 24-month progression-free survival, this was 22% in the olaparib group compared to 9.6% in the placebo group. So a significant improvement in the progression-free survival with olaparib maintenance. Whereas when you look at the overall survival was not very different. That is 8.9 months versus 18.1 months. But 18.9 months overall survival, median overall survival is something which is very good as so far as metastatic pancreatic cancer is concerned. And when you look at the efficacy outcomes, especially with regards to the use of FOLFIRINOX, what we see is that the objective response rate in the maintenance arm was 23% versus 10% with placebo. Notably, the 10% patients who received a FOLFIRINOX followed by a placebo, so these patients were still progression free after 2 years, which says that probably a platinum based chemotherapy, especially a FOLFIRINOX, is a very active protocol in these germline BRCA mutated patients, whereby even you can giving of patients being progression free even up till 2 years. When you look at the median duration of response, this was almost 24 to 25 months with the maintenance olaparib arm versus 3.7 months with the placebo arm. So again, it's quite on to say that although olaparib maintenance is something as a new standard, FOLFIRINOX using in germline BRCA mutated patients is also comes as one of the standard. Uh, Another study of germline BRCA mutated pancreatic cancer patients. So this was a randomized phase 2 trial of gemcitabine cisplatin. So a small study, only 50 patients of metastatic pancreatic cancer who were germline BRCA mutated, and they had two arms, GemCis and GemCis plus veliparib. The primary endpoint was response rate. The results, and you can see is that the response rate of 74% GemCis veliparib arm and a 65% the only GemCis arm. So these response rates of above 65 and 70%, you see these are unprecedented responses. And the gemcitabine platin veliparib arm has almost 100% disease control rate, which is something which is very, very exciting. So uh, you know, the progression-free survival also, you can see a 10.1 months in the in arm as against 9.7 months, and a 15 to 16 month overall survival. So what this study showed that probably adding veliparib to GemCis didn't contribute much, and using gemcitabine cisplatin also very good results could be obtained when they are germline BRCA mutated. So when you look at the recent NCCN guidelines, even they have recommended germline testing in pancreatic cancer patients, irrespective of the family history. Uh, what we could conclude probably now in the first line metastatic pancreatic cancer is that the approach should be to send germline or somatic BRCA mutation testing in all the patients. While you see, you cannot wait for the mutation test always to come when you start the treatment. So in the fit patients, it is probably best to start on FOLFIRINOX or a modified FOLFIRINOX. In the mutation positive patients, follow up the FOLFIRINOX after 16 weeks of treatment with olaparib maintenance. Whereas in the mutation negative patients, probably after 8 cycles of FOLFIRINOX, that is again 16 weeks, you start the 5-FU leucovorin maintenance. Another acceptable first-line options for mutation-positive patient is the gemcitabine cisplatin or folfirin or Folfox, and supposedly if at the baseline FOLFIRINOX is not feasible due to performance status, due to liver dysfunction or toxicities. In the mutation unknown patient, probably again you should look forward to starting FOLFIRINOX as against Gem-Nab-Paclitaxel in fit patients. But if the mutation is unknown and or negative, and the patients are not fit, they are PS2 or having a lot of comorbidities or compromised function, then probably you should look towards Gem-Nab-Paclitaxel as the first line option. So we conclude the first line therapy, and hereby we go to the second line treatment of pancreatic cancer. So when we look at the first line phase, all these first line phase 3 trial patients actually went in for second line treatment. So what we can see is that in the different trials, almost 40 to 50% of patients were eligible and were given second line treatment. So at least 50% of your patients also should be eligible to go ahead with the second line treatment. And again, the second line treatment depends upon what was your first line strategy. So if you are using FOLFIRINOX as the first line strategy, then probably the second line option should be Gem-Nab-Paclitaxel or a single agent gemcitabine. Whereas if you are using Gem-Nab-Paclitaxel as your first line strategy, then your second line option should be the nanosomal irinotecan plus 5-FU or irinotecan plus 5-FU. So this is based on the Napoli study. Well, I would be subsequently discussing. And there may be certain fit patients who might even be eligible for FOLFIRINOX. While again, if you're using single agent gemcitabine or a Folfox, so again, when selecting all these patients for different second line treatment, quality of life is something which is paramount, which is toxicities is something that is very important. You have to take care of. And again, we don't have enough good phase 3 studies in the second line setting. Now, when you look at different studies, what have we have seen across different institutions and countries for second line study, and so this was a meta-analysis which was done with 895 patients who received 5-FU or 5-FU combinations with irinotecan or oxaliplatin. So what they found is that probably in the second line, FOLFIRI was found to have a better progression-free survival as well as overall survival as compared to FOLFOX. So probably in the second line, if you have not used FOLFIRINOX as your first line, then probably you should use FOLFIRI as the second line as compared to FOLFOX. Now, let us come to the second part of my presentation. So this will be on the novel drug delivery system, which is very important for pancreatic cancer. So pancreatic cancer is one disease which has a very difficult to treat. And why was this? Is because the pancreatic cancer stroma is believed to be very dense and having a very dense fibroblastic reaction or a desmoplastic reaction, whereby the drug penetration is very less. So the most commonly used carriers for drug delivery in the pancreatic cancer treatment have come to include liposomes, nanoparticles, and the carbon nanotubes. These carriers protect the drug from degradation and effectively deliver them to the target organs. The advantages of such carrier encapsulation of drugs include increased drug solubility, prolonged drug exposure time, selective drug delivery to the target, improved therapeutic outcome, decreased toxic effects, and low drug resistance. So this cartoon quite shows you that how the different drugs or different therapeutic strategies may be delivered in an encapsulated form inside the cell so that they are able to reach their target and thereby avoid early degradation outside the cell. So look, liposomes. So liposomes are vesicles which are composed of single or multiple phosphobiolipid layers, can be loaded with a variety of content, including genetic material and chemotherapeutic drugs. They can improve drug solubility and stability. They are biodegradable and they exhibit low toxicity. The liposomes can also be pegylated to increase their stability and prolong the circulation time of the drug. So there was a study where pegylated liposomes, which was loaded with gemcitabine, increased survival and reduced the tumor growth and toxicity in severely compromised immunodeficient graft of pancreatic cancer compared to the controls. So improved liposomal delivery efficiently lowers the concentration of the drug to be used for the same effect, prolonging the circulation time, improving the drug internalization, and decreasing the unwanted toxic side effects. Looking at nanoparticles, which is another form of drug delivery system. So nanoparticles have a large surface to mass ratio, and the ability to bind to a number of substances provides them with a sustained release of drugs and improves drug circulation and concentration. These nanoparticles can also be targeted to specific locations through the addition of monoclonal antibodies or the use of certain magnetic guidance. Another drug delivery system includes carbon nanotubes, which have emerged as an exciting potential modality for drug delivery and imaging. These carbon nanotubes, they are able to absorb a large amount of drug, which can be slowly released, and the stable structure can be modified for improving the target of therapies. This carbon nanotube delivered cisplatin, modified to target the EGFR expressing cells, was found to selectively kill the head and neck squamous cell carcinoma cells in one of the studies. So we all know the impact of novel drug delivery systems in pancreatic cancer by the use of albumin-bound nanopaclitaxel. So this nanoparticle albumin-bound platform was based on albumin plus insoluble drug, and they exploited the transport properties of these albumin-bound drug. So because of the presence of albumin, these hydrophobic drugs could actually be transported across the pancreatic membrane through the GP60 and the spark, which resulted in high intratumoral concentration. So what we can see here in this cartoon is that cell, which was bound by albumin, was when injected into circulation, was able to be facilitated inside the GP60 receptors. So because of this internalization, they could be delivered inside the tumor institution. And because of the spark, that is the secreted protein acidic and rich in which could bind albumin particles, these drugs, the paclitaxel could be selectively delivered to the cancer cells, and thereby paclitaxel was able to cause much better outcome in the tumor cells by causing their death by apoptosis. Now, apart from this nanoalbumin bound albumin, what come in the pancreatic cancer is nanoliposomal irinotecan. This was come way beyond in 2015. The study had come, and yet we are yet to see this molecule coming in India. So this was the study, that is the Nepali study. So this Nepali one study actually had three arms where patients of metastatic pancreatic cancer who had progressed on prior gem-based treatment were randomized to the three arms. So arm A was a single agent nanoliposomal irinotecan. Second arm was a combination of nanoliposomal irinotecan with 5-FU, and there was another arm of single agent 5-FU with leucovorin. So the primary endpoint was overall survival, and what we could see is that the combination of nanoirinotecan with 5-FU leucovorin actually improved the overall survival in second line to 6.1 months as compared to 4.2 months. And the single agent nanoliposomal irinotecan was not found to be different from single agent 5-FU. So this quite established nanoliposomal irinotecan combination with 5-FU leucovorin as one of the standards in the second line treatment. Another component of the extracellular matrix, which is present in the pancreatic membrane, is the hyaluronan. So this hyaluronan degradation is very important for the drug to be released inside the cell, and a recombinant human hyaluronidase, that is PEG PH20, is something that was also used to degrade this hyaluronan and to improve the drug delivery. So this was a phase 2 halo study. In this study, they studied the addition of this hyaluronan form to the gemcitabine nab-paclitaxel. So this study included 279 patients of metastatic pancreatic cancer who were randomized to either gem nab-paclitaxel standard arm as well as the experimental gem nab-paclitaxel plus this hyaluronan, and the primary endpoint was progression-free survival. So you can see that the survival was not very different in both the arms. But in those patients who had a high hyaluronic acid content, and in these subset of patients, the addition of these recombinant human hyaluronan actually improved the median progression-free survival by almost 5 months. That is from 4.3 months the standard gem nab-pacli arm to 9.2 months when the recombinant hyaluronan was added, which was really significant. So there is an array of a list of strategies which are actually being harnessed with the use of nano carriers encapsulating different chemotherapeutic agents. There is a long list of it, and the various studies which have been done across this decade have shown a very promising effect for all these nano carriers like pegylated hyaluronidase, cerium oxides. So multiple nanoparticles and are being exploited now for improving the outcomes in poorly differentiated cancers of pancreas. Um, so we have already seen the different advances in the field with the use of the smart drug delivery systems, with the help of carbon nanotubes, with the help of nanoparticles. Uh, so this is again the same thing, that probably all these smart molecules, they all exploit the different stimuli responsive targeting, that is based on certain stimuli like probably light or pH or the temperature. These they become active by such these triggers, and because when they become active, they are able to have targeted by different, when they are being different molecules are being attached to them, so that so there can be active targeting as well as there can be a passive targeting. Again, looking at the different FDA approved nanoparticles which are being employed. So in pancreatic cancer, we've already approved nanosomal liposomal irinotecan as well as the nab-paclitaxel in pancreatic cancer. Exciting novel drug delivery system, that is an iontophoretic device delivery for localized treatment of pancreatic ductal cancers. The drug delivery of pancreatic tumors is impaired by unique desmoplastic response and poor tumor vascularization. And in this study, what they showed was a local iontophoretic delivery of the drugs, that is 5-FU leucovorin, irinotecan, oxaliplatin, resulted in actually a better tumor response and tolerability compared to an IV FOLFIRINOX. So on the right, you can see a mouse model whereby actually they had inserted this device which had linked to a power, and through this device there was a drug input and there was a drug output. So and they were also together measuring the concentration of the drugs in the pancreatic tumor. So when this power was on with a 2 milliampere current, we can see that the drug concentration was quite high as compared to when no current was there. So all the drug concentration in the tissue was for oxaliplatin, irinotecan, and 5-FE. All of them were much higher as compared to when the no current was used. So such kind of an iontophoretic delivery, that is by using a current, is there is a better penetration of drug into the tissue, which is very one of the novel ways. And what we can see is that clearly when you use such kind of a novel drug delivery system, intratumoral concentration of the drugs is quite high as compared to the IV. So you can see when this device was used to deliver FOLFIRINOX, the tumor concentrations were quite high. The intratumoral concentration of drugs were very high as compared to when the IV FOLFIRINOX was used traditionally. Whereas in this device FOLFIRINOX, you can see that out tumor, the drug concentration was very low in the plasma, in the non-tumor part of the pancreas, in the kidney and the liver. Whereas when we are giving IV FOLFIRINOX, actually the plasma concentrations as well as the toxicity as the kidneys and livers, the concentration of the drugs are much higher. So we can understand that probably such kind of device delivery, if it is used, will probably improve the drug delivery, improve the outcomes more. There will be more tumor concentration and there will be less toxicity. So it is another study which showed that a sequentially triggered nanoparticle, that is an cell penetrating peptide camptothecin prodrug. So when these nanoparticles are being used, so there is better tumor penetration. And another extracellular matrix component called tenecin C. So this is another and if you have certain nanoparticles like aptamer, stroma permeable cell penetrating peptide, which can actually improve the drug delivery and improve the outcomes. Another drug delivery system is that has shown promise is RenovoCath. So treating pancreatic cancer with drugs has again two problems involved. The fact that these pancreatic tumors do not have a high level of blood supply like other tumors. So systemic drug delivery, which is generally given through a vein, circulates and affects most of the cells in the body, but they cannot penetrate the tumor tissues. This poor drug penetration drastically reduces the efficacy, increases the toxicity. And due to this lack of blood supply to the tumor, there are not visible blood vessels. The doctor cannot use for the targeted catheter-based therapy like in other tumors. So this is a innovative drug delivery system, which is RenovoCath. So this is a catheter-based device which has been cleared by the FDA, and this device delivers gemcitabine through isolated segments of blood vessels next to the tumor to overcome these barriers. So the major benefits of this RenovoCath is that compared to the conventional systemic administration, this RenovoCath delivers high concentrations of the drug directly to the tumor. Only a small amount of the drug reaches the bloodstream. As a result, a patient experiences lesser side effects, notably severe side effects, liver large doses, which might be necessary for treating pancreatic cancer. So because the drug directly reaches the tumor, its effects do not depend on the nature of the blood vessels that supply the tumor. Another study of targeted and localized intra-arterial delivery of gemcitabine in patients feasibility of localized and selective intra-arterial chemotherapy delivery to the pancreas RenovoCath. With gemcitabine, this approach is safe with the sole prerequisite of perioperative antibiotics for patients with prior biliary stent or drainage. The efficacy results suggest a survival benefit when compared to historical control, especially in patients with prior radiation therapy. So here to the summary of this presentation. So what we can conclude is that pancreatic cancer remains one of the most morbid and lethal malignancies with more than 80% cases continuing to be diagnosed at an advanced stage which precludes a curative. Carcinomas contribute more than 95% of the cases for which palliative systemic chemotherapy is the mainstay of management of advanced cases following optimal supportive care measures. Gemcitabine, which was the global old standard of care for nearly 2 decades, but within the past decade, particularly for metastatic disease, there are several more efficacious and life-prolonging multi-drug chemotherapy combinations which have emerged, like FOLFIRINOX or gemcitabine with nab-paclitaxel. Most importantly, the germline BRCA testing and usage of platinum and PARP inhibitor treatment in the mutated patients have resulted in further improved outcomes. And there are many novel strategies like nanoparticles, liposomal molecules, which are evolving to further improve the survival outcomes for advanced pancreatic cancer. So I thank you all for patient listening. And if there are any questions, I will be very happy to take it.
Vivek, you there?
Yeah, yes. Good evening, Chandrakant. How are you?
Hi, Vivek. It was a nice talk, very informative and a comprehensive talk covering the first line, subsequent line, and all. Very informative.
Sir, I think
You're
your
able to hear.
video is not.
You're, you're able to hear me?
Yeah, we are able.
Yeah, yeah. So I was just making a point that as far as the polo trial, where you were just saying, where we gave some 4 months of FOLFIRINOX, and then we had one arm for observation, and other arm observation placebo versus olaparib. So as you had correctly pointed out, platinum does cause a significant benefit even without olaparib. So we do not use placebo or observation in pancreatic cancer. We put them on some sort of maintenance. So do you feel that the control arm was inferior than the actual practice?
I probably would not agree to you totally when we say that observation is not. There have been many times when we have put our pancreatic cancer patients who have actually responded well to first line treatment on observation also. But I agree that in most other cancers, there is a, as in most other cancers, even in pancreatic cancer, there is a role of maintenance treatment and probably some sort of a maintenance therapy if was there in the placebo arm other than the placebo, then the probably the trial would have been much more relevant actually.
So,
This is like a very
yeah, yeah.
common criticism that has been always used in most of the PARP inhibitor trials. So their comparator arms have always been placebos, and that is the most important criticism that has been there across all studies of PARP inhibitors. So probably placebo arm is traditionally a very weak arm, and if they had used at least a 5-FU leucovorin maintenance or a gem maintenance, some maintenance arm, then probably the maintenance, what I feel is that the we could only see some difference in the progression-free survival. If you look at the median overall survival data, so it was around 18 and a half months in both the arms, which quite tells you that probably maintenance with olaparib is something that doesn't probably adds much.
So, when do you think you want to send for BRCA testing in pancreatic cancer? You want to send it as a blanket test, or any subgroup you want to send, or what is the practice you have?
So if you look at the recent guidelines, so I guess the patient should be encouraged for sending the BRCA mutation test. They have even suggested that if the if the BRCA mutation is positive, these are those cases probably where not only for the patient but even there is benefit for the family, because you can always counsel these families and their relatives for screening. And so far as the
Yeah.
patient is concerned, again, when you actually find them to be BRCA mutant, then you actually realize that these are highly platinum sensitive patients, and probably then you are more easier to use it, even if you're not able to use a FOLFIRINOX like a protocol. You can often go on to a gemcitabine cisplatin kind of a protocol in these
That's the
patients,
marks.
which is probably much more easier to use rather than FOLFIRINOX.
Yeah. So, you were pointing out to a meta-analysis where in the second line, if you're using FOLFIRI, it is better than FOLFOX in terms of overall survival. So, in that meta-analysis, first line, what was the first line treatment in these set of patients?
So when you look at this old studies, which when the first line was based treatment was used in most of these patients. So when you are actually using FOLFIRINOX as a first line strategy, then FOLFOX or a FOLFIRI. So these are all old studies where they had used gemcitabine based protocol.
Yeah, so I was just making a point that we always feel that platinum does better than irinotecan in sort of PFS or OS. So probably they would have been exposed to platinum in the first line. That may be the reason why FOLFIRI is doing better than FOLFOX in that particular meta-analysis. Uh,
Well, I would not
then,
agree to that, because even in the individual studies also it was found that found to be doing a bit better as compared to. So there were second line studies where they had also looked on single agent 5-FU versus FOLFOX. FOLFOX, there was even a study where FOLFOX was not found to improve survival as compared to single agent 5-FU. So I feel that when if you are using this in a second line, then probably FOLFIRI is gives you a more weight. So supposedly if you use GemNab paclitaxel protocol in the first line, surprisingly in the second line, probably FOLFIRI would be having a more overall survival advantage as compared to FOLFOX. This may be linked to probably the tolerance also, maybe due to neuropathy issues also. So a lot of times even we have preferred FOLFIRI because of the neuropathy issue. So if you're using GEM nab-paclitaxel in the first line, many of these patients would be having significant neuropathy. So you would actually end up using FOLFIRI rather than FOLFOX.
uh, then when you come to this Napoli study, there were three arms where we had one we had the FOLFIRI in the sense the novel
The
iron
nanoliposomal
5FU.
irinotecan plus 5-FU leucovorin. One was only nanoliposomal irinotecan, and one arm was only 5-FU leucovorin. So out of these three, liposomal
Yeah, so
irinotecan plus 5-FU was actually the better arm.
I think it would have been better if you had a conventional FOLFIRI arm rather than a single drug comparison. What do you feel?
Actually are using a nanoparticle. If you have not compared it to the
You should have compared it with a conventional FOLFIRI rather than comparing with a single drug, right?
yeah, I totally agree. So, in the same line, we have already seen that you see the MPACT study, although they included GEM NAP paclitaxel versus GEM, they never had an arm of GEM paclitaxel. So all this goes into the saying that probably the albumin bound particle or the nanoparticle is probably that the principal compound which is increasing your drug values inside the tumor. So that is probably one of the reasons why they didn't actually try it with the traditional drug arm.
So the final thing is, we have been having enough evidence on Abraxane where you've got both nanoparticle albumin bound. So what is your take on using molecules which are only nanoparticle or which are some aqualip preparations or polymeric preparations? So what do you think in practice? Does it make sense in replacing drugs, interchanging them?
Yeah, I think across the indications. So supposedly, when you look at pancreatic cancer, we are not fortunate enough to have Abraxane available in our country, and whenever we have used Nanoxel instead of Abraxane, so what we have found is that compared uh, single agent, the traditional paclitaxel, you have much less infusion reactions, much less allergic reactions. You have a reversible neuropathy as compared to an irreversible neuropathy with the traditional paclitaxel. And definitely the toxicities are less, the doses are more, the response rates also have been higher across many indications. And in pancreatic cancers also, whenever we have used gemcitabine along with Nanoxel, so what we can see is that the outcomes have been good. I think there have been even a publication from Tata Memorial Hospital where Nanoxel was found to have a decent overall survival of around 8 to 9 months, quite achieving the results of the impact study in real world.
I think it was a great interaction. We can proceed.
So I think if there are no more questions, I think uh, I wish everybody a very good evening and call it a day here.
Sure. So I just wanted to thank you very much for your giving us a valuable and detailed insight about the topic, sir. I think there is no more questions from the audience. So once again, on behalf of Fresnius Kabi, myself, Pradeep, and entire Kolkata team would like to take this opportunity to say thanks to Dr. Vivek as well as the entire audience, which is a part of today's webinar.
Okay, thank you.
Sir, just a request. Can you just check whether your video is turned on? Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, sir. Have a great evening.